fanatical, judgmental, extreme. These are just some of the words I've heard describing religious people. So, how does being religious differ than being someone who follows Jesus? Today I'll tell you how. Hi, I'm Alex Ennis, and this is our 9th devotional in our series, March to the Cross. At Simplify Strategies, we give God-inspired solutions to help you with your personal challenges, to help you find your path forward. Today we meet the religious in our devotional study of 25 unique persons and things Jesus met on his way to the cross and resurrection. The Your Path Forward key takeaway is this. The difference between a religious person and one who has a relationship with Jesus is the bended knee. Do you have what it takes to have a bended knee? Of course, some of you may be wondering, is bended knee a location to go on vacation? Well, no, but let's walk through this and I think you will find the answer to your question. Immediately following the religious interaction with Matthew that we talked about previously, we read in Mark chapter 2, verses 18 to 22. Once when John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting, some people came to Jesus and asked, "Why don't your disciples fast like John's disciples and the Pharisees do?" Jesus replied, "Do wedding guests fast while celebrating with the groom? Of course not. They can't fast while the groom is with them, but someday the groom will be taken away from them and they will fast. Besides, who would patch old clothing with new cloth? For the new patch would shrink and rip away from the old cloth, leaving an even bigger tear than before. And no one puts new wine in old wineskins, for the wine would burst the wineskins, and the wine and the skins would both be lost. New wine calls for new wineskins." So we have the religious folks trying to corner Jesus on a spiritual practice, fasting. If you don't know what fasting is, let me give you a very basic definition. Fasting is going without to develop spiritually within. Okay, going without to develop spiritually within. Now that can include food or a variety of things. Remember, they were just watching Jesus eating with Matthew at a party. So now they want to paint the picture that, well, Jesus doesn't follow spiritual practices. By the way, you will find out as we go that Jesus often eats with people. It's a primary way for him to meet people where they are and meet needs. Jesus isn't saying never to fast. He is saying that while he is with his followers, there isn't a need to fast. That'll come later. He is saying, however, there is something new happening. There was the old covenant that we often refer to as the Old Testament. And now the new covenant, which is what Jesus institutes and what we normally call the New Testament. The religious are taking this in and realizing that Jesus' new way is fracturing the group that they had incredible power and influence over. Jesus is now going to be scrutinized from here on out with everything he says and does. Here are a few things about religious people. 1, religious people are never in doubt of their own opinion. Have you ever noticed that? It's usually harsh, extreme, and any attempt to question will result in an immediate smackdown of you and your opinion. 2, the religious think they are good enough. They're experts at comparison, and their comparisons are always down and never up. In other words, they make sure they compare themselves to someone else they can either tear down or has deep struggles. 3, religious people are great at thinking of everything except for 2 things: Jesus and others. When people ask me, what am I to be doing right now? How do I take the complexities of life and following Jesus and make them simple? Well, it was your path forward key takeaway. The difference between the religious person, a follower of Jesus, is the bended knee. So how do you apply that? 1, be someone who refreshes. Who can you come alongside and give some oxygen to? You know, if you watch a professional football game, there are those in charge of the oxygen machines who make sure the athletes can get oxygen after a tumultuous struggle. They don't get their names in the media, but the athlete definitely knows the value of them. 2, be someone who serves. Have you ever been to a restaurant where you received poor service? You know, the one where you kept trying to gain their attention and you just never got noticed? What about at the restaurant where you got impeccable service? Something tells me you returned to the one and you did not return to the other. Be a servant where you can share Jesus as to why. Third, be someone who is gracious. Saying thank you or good job goes a long way with people. Most people receive criticism as that is easy to give. Take notice of people. If someone makes a mistake, be gracious in how you point that out. Are you pointing it out to hurt them, or are you pointing it out so that they don't continue to hurt themselves? All three of these incorporate one look: a bended knee. Someone who refreshes bends down to help those who are in desperate need of oxygen in their life. A serving person is attentive to others' needs and cares more for others' needs than their own. A gracious person quickly forgives and seeks the best path forward for others. God has designed us to serve others. If we get away from that design, it becomes very difficult to find our own path. Having the bended knee will open up a brighter path for you and propel you forward in your journey. Of these three areas of refreshing, serving, being gracious, which one can you do today? You know what? Take a moment and in the comments, just use one of those three words. Refreshing. Or maybe you're going to be serving, or maybe you're going to be gracious. Hey, but have you ever tried to do a good deed and it backfired? You did serve, you did something nice, but it just went terribly wrong. Find out what happens to the good deed Jesus does in our next devotional, The Man with the Withered Hand. See you soon, and don't forget to comment below.